The question is, where were you when you first heard about this podcast? That's how excited I am to introduce to you, in conjunction with Utsav Chandak. This is Crick Life at its extreme. It's New World Cricket, Utsav Chandak, two forces from different corners of the world, United States of America and India, combining. Now, let's be honest. Is this going to be the best first podcast ever? Yeah, it's going to be good. But this is our first podcast, so please keep that in mind. There's some internet issues. There's some issues with us, learning how to talk to each other on the internet, things like that. Hello. You're going to want to check out this podcast too. But check it out. New World Cricket, Utsav Chandak.
Corruption, match fixing, gangster, politicians, everything got into the sport. Cricket was almost dead in this country. The butterfly effect starts from the 2007 ODI World Cup campaign.
How you doing, guys? This is Joey from New World Cricket. This is the first podcast I'm doing with Utsav. Please check out our channels here, and we're going to give our opinions on just growing up cricket, our different cricketing cultures here in the United States, and where Utsav is in India, and a couple other things. So let's get into it. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing very well. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's very early here. It's about 5 a.m, but this is like a perfect time for me. And so just finding those time differences is pretty cool. So yeah, let's get into it. So we're going to talk about growing up in different cricketing cultures and how things are different. United States has a lot less to talk about when it comes to cricket and at least cricket now. History is different, but tell me about like your path to cricket and how you fell in love with the sport.
Okay, so India is a like cricket crazy country. Like there are cricket fanatics all over the streets, and they are mad about the sport. They're very passionate about the sport, and like it will be unfair to say that we grabbed the sport just because we won the 1983 World Cup. Like obviously that is a very big event in the history of Indian cricket. Like just saying that just because we won the 1983 World Cup, everyone picked up the sport, like that is going to be unfair, because uh, someone from my generation has no clue about what happened in 1983. Like we had a movie recently that I'll recommend you to watch. Just watch it on Netflix. The name of the movie is 83. Just watch the movie. It's a great movie. But there have been series of events that has led things to reach at this point. At this point, it will be like I will not be boasting it if I say that India is running the sport, because the entire money is coming from this part of the world, like at least at this point of time. How I fell into the game is something that will come later in the story, but the story begins, like, in order to understand cricket and cricket in India, you have to go back in time when India was not even called India. It was called British India. We were under the colonizers. And obviously, cricket grew in the colonized states, because colonized countries, because England was the country who brought the sport into light. And okay, I'd like to ask you one thing. Do you know who played the first ever international cricket match? What are the two countries which were involved?
Yes, I do. I do very much so. That was in 1844, United
Oh
States
my
against
god.
Canada.
Yeah. It's so weird that the
Yeah,
game start the first ever match was played between US and Canada. And then things
yeah.
turned out to be so different that now, the sport is the main two countries of this who play the sport are England and Australia.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. How does it end up like that? Yeah, and just the trajectory, if things were different, United States and Canada could have still been very popular cricketing nations. It just didn't happen that way. It's a shame. It was close, but I think there was other factors. And if you want to talk about history later, it's quite fascinating how it slowly shifted to baseball, just out of economics and and things like that. But up until like the 1900s, cricket was fairly popular in the United States, and it just slowly dissipated, and now it's coming back.
If we talk about the history of India, like, but this is a really serious story, and this obviously is the root of the country, I would say. And I think in order to understand the game, you need to understand, or if in order to understand India as a country, you need to go back in time and learn like what has happened in the past, which has sculpted us into what we are today. So this story is not about any like fun games, jokes. This is a story of bloodshed, humiliation, sacrifice, and also courage. Like standing up against the colonizers, standing up for yourself. So if we talk about the British colonized India, I would like to share a few things that used to happen in this country. Just the part of the country from where I belong. Like I'm currently in West Bengal, which is uh, the partition of like a part of Bengal. The other part is Bangladesh. East Bengal is Bangladesh, and I am in West Bengal. So back in the day in 1943, uh, Winston Churchill, and you would be thinking that why I'm telling you the story. Everything is connected. So just
Mhm.
hang around in the story.
Oh, for sure, I'm right there with
So
you.
yeah, so back in the day in 1943, uh, the world was entering into the Second World War, and you know the world was like divided, and there was no such thing called humanity back in the day.
Really?
So the Prime Minister of United Kingdom or Great Britain, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Winston
United
Churchill,
Kingdom. Yeah.
yeah. So he imposed a few sanctions, which were in a way that, like the export duties were in a way that if a farmer grows crops in Bengal, a person from Bengal would have to pay an absurdly high amount to buy those products, and it would be available at almost like at super cheap prices in the United Kingdom. So an artificial famine was created in Bengal, and the people starved to death in this part of the country. And why I'm telling you this, because this led to the rise of a leader who is not well known of. His name is Subhash Chandra Bose. He is a born rebellion. He was a born rebellion, and he comes from a well known of family, like one of the richest families in the country. And he found a way to fight back. Like whatever used to happen, he used to fight back to the British. Okay, now we have to, like, this part of the history is over. Like things happened after that. The world war concluded. There was a Red Fort trial, then Quit India movement, and all of that. India became free, and the colonization was over. The new free India knew of three legendary sports people. One is late Milkha Singh ji, who was an athlete, track and field athlete. One is KD Jadhav, who was a wrestler, freestyle wrestler. And the third was Major Dhyanchand, who was a field hockey player. And India back in the day, even when we were colonized, we used to play as British India, and we used to win gold medals like in every Olympics, like 1928, 36, 40, 48, like up till 1980 we used to keep winning gold medals. And then there was some change in rules, and then we suddenly became a poor field hockey side until up till recently, where we won a bronze medal again.
Hmm.
So now when we have lost a sport, like we were really at the top of a sport, and we all of a sudden fell off a cliff, and we were trying to find something to celebrate because the country was going through a lot of hardships,
Hmm.
uh, rebellions, like border disputes, wars, everything was going on,
Okay.
like even kind of a civil war kind of a situation. And
Hmm.
then there was a certain Kapil Dev who went to England, and the story is so hilarious that nobody gave India a chance, not even Indians. We were so bad at this game. Like in the 1975 and 1979 edition combined, we won just one match in both the World Cups, and that was against East Africa, which were a team made of Indians who had gone to Africa, and the team was full of Indian laborers, like who went as laborers and ended up being cricket players. So East Africa is not even a country at this point. East Africa, sorry, not even a cricket playing country at this point. It
Right,
was
right.
a combination of Tanzania, Uganda, and Kenya.
Kenya, yeah,
So these three countries combined made East Africa. Now it is divided, and obviously Uganda is playing the World Cup this time.
yeah. Oh
Uh,
yeah,
there are so many stories where India was not even given a chance. We were made fun of. Like if you watch the movie, you will get a clear picture of it. Like the news reporters used to say that, what are you here for? Like
yeah.
your enemy is not going to win. What will be the satisfactory end of this campaign? And obviously they had self belief that obviously like we are here to compete and win. The manager of the Indian cricket team at that point, PR Mansingh, uh, he had booked tickets of coming back from England even before the semi-finals. Like he did not even think that we could make it, and he was humiliated. He was not even given the pass to enter Lord's cricket ground. Uh,
Oh, what?
yeah,
Wow.
we
So you
we were not
didn't
allowed to enter Lord's cricket ground, and
wow.
like the discrimination was such that when India was colonized, there were places in India and England which used to have boards outside that said dogs and Indians are not allowed inside.
Really?
uh yeah, so it was a way of coming back to the British when India started playing well, and at certain point of time India was about to be knocked out in the tournament, when India had to win a game with the huge margin against Zimbabwe, which was a great team back in the day. um it is still a great team, but obviously that team was legendary, I would say. And India, and the humiliation was such that BBC was on strike that day, and they decided to not telecast the game at all. So there is no video footage of that game available anywhere in the world.
Oh, really?
And in
Oh
that
no.
game, India started off horribly. India were 17 for 5, something like that, and then Kapil Dev went into bat. The highest score like ever in an innings by a batsman in an ODI match back in the day was 174, I guess, by Glenn Turner, and he ended up crossing that mark. He scored 175 runs, not out, and India won that match and eventually went on to like defeat England in the semi-finals. And then England for the first time never did not even play the finals of the World Cup. It was India and West Indies, and against all odds India won the World Cup, and all of a sudden we had new heroes like Kapil
Yeah.
Dev, Sunil Gavaskar. They became household names, and like
Hmm.
there was literally a point in the country where a huge population of the boys who were being born, they were named Kapil and Sunil because of the heroes, the new heroes we had found, so to say. And if I have to end the story here, I can end the story here that like, yeah, now India has adopted the sport, and
That's fascinating.
things
I
have
mean, like,
happened organically. A few more tournaments happened, India played well, and then India had a terrible time. Like India, when so many people get involved in a sport, and there is just one sport in the country that people want to watch, that attracts bad things like corruption, match fixing, gangster, politicians, everything got into the sport. And India and cricket and Indian cricket both just went into like turmoil, match fixing scandals. The captain back in the day was Mohammad Azharuddin, and the South African legendary captain Hansi Cronje, when he confessed that he had done like participated in match fixing, he also said that Mohammad Azharuddin introduced him to the bookies. So that was not a very good time for Indian as well as like cricket in general, South African, Pakistani cricket. And like cricket was almost dead in this country until one person debuted for the country. Okay, now this is 1996. India is playing England at Lords. Two people have debuted for India in this match, and one of them has scored a century at Lords on debut. Now these two people are Rahul Dravid, who is the current head coach of Indian cricket team and the second highest run scorer for Indian Test cricket, and the other is Sor of Ganguli. Now, this story is about Sor of Ganguli. Sor of Ganguli is the protagonist of the story. So now, you would remember me talking about Bengal. You would remember me talking about Subhash Chandra Bose. Now, this guy, Saurav Ganguly, comes from a well-reputed family, well-off family, one of the richest people in the country. Yeah. So now
Fantastic.
this dude doesn't care about the traditions of India at all. Like, forget the English traditions. He does not have two shits to give about the Indian traditions.
Love it.
Now this guy has gone to play county cricket in England, and obviously county is a big tournament, traditional tournament, and it has been going on since like 1800s.
Mm.
So now this year is 1999 or 2000, I think 2000 if I'm not wrong, and it is the opening ceremony of the county season, and of course it is a big day. Like the fans have come, the donors have come, the players are like well suited, and there's a dinner. This dude shows up in track pants, old track pants. He is not well dressed at all. He has his dinner, he leaves. Like, uh even though the players want him to go out with them, like hang outside, do clubbing together, but he's a typical Bengali person. Like he just goes, he just does his work, comes back to his family, a proper family man. So the English media did not take this well, and he obviously became the prime target, and even the English players started to, slowly hate him. Yeah.
So, like the
So
Indian
now,
players were even against him too because he wasn't following the traditions.
no. The Indian players used to admire him. The Indian media is, of course,
The Indian media,
tries to
yeah,
pull
yeah.
their legs, but the English players, yeah, the
Acha,
English
okay,
players and the English media was totally against him.
okay,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
So and there was one player in particular who is the antagonist of the story in three or four more incidents to follow. It is Andrew Flintoff. Okay, I have huge respect for this person, but just for the sake of the story, he is the antagonist of the story. Okay. Now in this county season, Saurav Ganguly takes his sweater off and gives it to Mike Atherton, who was the captain of the English Test team back in the day, and obviously well reputed, and a guy coming from India who is not even the captain back in the day, takes his sweater off, gives it to a well reputed person, and tells him to keep it outside. And now this became a huge facade, and everyone started to be against him, like from that part of the country.
Yeah.
Now Flintoff had been experiencing all these incidents, and obviously he was not very fond of Saurav Ganguly. So uh, in 2002, England came to India to play an ODI series, and like India, you barely used to win back in the day, and like India had beaten England in an ODI series at home just once before this, and now we had another opportunity to just increase the number. And India was doing well to a point that India needed some I guess 40 runs in over 10 overs, and India had 6 wickets in hand.
Okay.
Saurav Ganguly gets out, and then a collapse happens. The entire team like fails to win. India loses the match by 5 runs, and Andrew Flintoff is like takes 4 or 5 wickets, or 5 or 6 wickets. I'm not sure about that. And he's of course the player of the match, and he loses it after taking the last wicket. He takes his t-shirt off and rotates it in the
Oh,
stadium at Wankhede, Mumbai, and Saurav Ganguly was sitting outside. And in the post-match presentation, he weeps, like he had tears in his eyes. Saurav Ganguly, the captain of the Indian cricket team. Now India had to somehow, like Saurav Ganguly had to somehow take his revenge back. The same year there
yeah.
was a NatWest Trophy, like tri-series, and 2002 NatWest Trophy has huge significance in this country. Even though we keep winning bilaterals and whatever tri-series has happened in the past, we kind of do well. We have won so many Asia Cups. We don't talk about it at all. But 2002 NatWest Trophy is very very special. It was a tri-series between India, Sri Lanka, and England. So India somehow reached the finals. India was not playing very good cricket. India were not the best of chasers. We used to collapse every now and then.
Hmm.
And in this final match, India was chasing once again. India got the first wicket pretty quickly, but then Nasir Hussain scored, I guess, 150 plus, and there was another guy who scored another century. And England put up 325 runs. And back in the day, 325 was a huge total, and
Yeah.
it was extremely difficult to chase such a score. And Sor of Ganguli and Virendra Sehwag were the openers. They put India like to a perfect start, but then again the collapse happened. 3 or 4 wickets fell down. The experienced guys were gone, and two youngsters were on the crease. Yuvraj Singh, one of them, and the other was Mohammad Kaif. Okay, now Mohammad Kaif doesn't come from a very like he's not he doesn't have a great background.
Okay.
And Nasir Khan says that okay, now they have sent in the bus driver, and we have a chance now. Okay, so now the bus driver just destroys the entire English bowling attack, and India ends up winning from a lost position. India won the NatWest Trophy, and now at their home, at the iconic Lord's Cricket Ground balcony, the entire Indian support staff is standing, the entire players are standing, the entire India is cheering for them, and Saurav Ganguly takes his t-shirt off and rotates just like Andrew Flintoff did,
Yeah.
just as payback. Yeah, and now obviously the Indian media did not take this well. Like, this is not how you're supposed to be. You're the captain of the Indian cricket team. You need to be a little civilized. But obviously
Yeah.
the fans learned that, you know what, India can look into the eyes of the colonizers, and we are not less than them than them at all. After Saurav Ganguly put a statement like this, taking his t-shirt off, India adopted the sport like no other, and we got players like Rahul Dravid, we had players like VVS, we had Sachin Tendulkar, we had Rahul Dravid, and we have Virendra Sehwag. MS Dhoni came in later, so we had a really extremely talented bunch of cricketers, all thanks to Saurav Ganguly. With the help of them, MS Dhoni was not here back in 2003, but we played the finals. We got thrashed in the finals, and then 2007 happens. 2007 World Cup. Rahul Dravid
Hmm.
was the captain, and India has a terrible World Cup campaign, to an extent that even MS Dhoni, in his retirement video that he had posted, he doesn't show any of his World Cup wins or Champions Trophy wins, but he does put a picture of uh, a puppet of him that was being burned on the streets. Stones were being
Hmm.
pelted at the players' house. It was such a terrible campaign. And the
Yeah.
same year, ICC decided, like, let's have a T20 World Cup. And all the great Indian players, the legendary status held players, said that, we are anyways not able to play ODI cricket. We don't want to get into T20 cricket because T20 cricket is a joke. Like, what
Mm.
exactly is T20 cricket? They decided that we are not going to play this World Cup. Sachin, Rahul Dravid, VVS, Saurav Ganguly, everyone just said that we are not going to play this World Cup. Just send in the young boys, make MS Dhoni the captain, and let's see what happens. This is just a formality. We are just being dragged into this World Cup. And this
Right.
is the
Right.
best thing that could happen to us. India versus England, a league stage match of the T20 World Cup, probably a must-win match for us. I'm not sure about that. And Andrew Flintoff again, he had something to say. He was abusing Yuvraj Singh, and a fight broke out in the middle of the ground between Yuvraj and Andrew Flintoff. The next
Really.
over was bowled by Stuart Broad. Yuvraj Singh hit 6 sixes in that over. Like, legendary movement in Indian cricket. Every young person who was interested in the sport ever since that day have watched this at least 1,000 times. We clearly know the commentary and everything. Like, Ravi Shastri was in the commentary, and it was so iconic. Like, it is such a legendary line. And then once again, an Indian gave it back to the colonizers, and
Yeah.
this became a part of the history of cricket in this country. Later on, India defeated Australia in the semi-finals. Then India like somehow defeated Pakistan in the finals. We won, and from here, the world of cricket completely changed. Like
Hmm.
you talk about butterfly effect. The butterfly effect starts from the 2007 ODI World Cup campaign, where we lose
Really?
brutally, and we think that like this is the worst thing that could happen to us. And then we send young boys, and the young boys win it for us. We find a
Right.
captain in MS Dhoni who ends up winning like all possible ICC tournaments that he could. And now we have a T20 format in front of us. The next year, India starts its franchise cricket Premier League, Indian Premier League, and the rest is history.
That's awesome. That is such a cool story. And but I was thinking, the religion part of cricket in India started much sooner, much earlier. Like it was like the
Hmm.
1950s and you guys were like obsessed with cricket. But this is kind of like a fairly new phenomenon, that kind of built in
Hmm.
stages. So it kind of gives me hope for the United States. Um, you know, I just have a couple questions because that's so fascinating. Like, so how do you how do you reckon the colonial ties with the sport? Like if you ask an American about cricket, they might be turned off to it because, hey, it's a British sport. Like we're American, we
Yeah.
don't play those British sports. And I
Hmm.
personally like England a lot, but at the same time, I'm very proud to be an American and be independent. Like we're not like Australia where we have a British flag and our flag. Like we're free,
Yeah.
we're independent. So like, how do you reckon? This is a sport that was made in England, created in England, but it's
Hmm.
also a source of Indian pride. Like, how do you deal with those things?
Yeah. Well, like we don't we I want to be clear that we don't hate any country. Like we are absolutely chill with the United Kingdom. We have actually pretty good relations with that country. But again, history, like it is a part of the history. Like we cannot change the past. We have experienced certain things, and whenever we have a series with England, it has to somehow come out. Like even the English have it, that they are not very fond of Indians. Even the Indians have it that deep down we are not so fond of English or Britishers. Like even in the current ongoing India versus England series, if you look closely, you would find ties. Like in the last test series, we had a moment where James Anderson was uh, talking to Virat Kohli, and Virat said that this is not your backyard anymore. And then James Anderson was bowling bouncers to Jasprit Bumrah. He's a swing bowler who went on to bowl like bouncers. And you know what? India won the match, and that is one of the greatest matches of cricket ever played. India in the fourth innings came out, and Virat Kohli said that for the next 60 overs this should feel like hell.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it is deep down, it is rooted inside us that the way we play against the like England, we don't play very well against Australia or New Zealand, but when it comes to England, there is like something happens to our boys.
It's like a must win. Like we have to beat these guys. It's like personal. And I kind of feel that way sometimes with Canada, like when we
Yeah, yeah.
play ice hockey growing up. And I guess I could tell you if that's okay about
Mm,
my journey to cricket or the American journey to cricket. So
mm,
I grew up in Michigan, up north, and so you would think like American football is like the popular sport, but where I grew up, it was ice hockey, or we
mm.
just call it hockey, and we call your guys' hockey field hockey. Um,
Yeah.
and so, yeah, so I mean, that's the popular sport. And so growing up, it was always USA versus Canada, and Canada would destroy us. So we took it very
Mm,
personal when we played them or Russia. And so there's a lot of history with that. But like you said, the first international game of cricket happened in 1844 in the United
mm,
States. I think yeah, I don't know how the game ended, but some people say that Canada won the game. So yeah, so So Canada won by like 18 runs or something. But I mean, it was a beautiful start, and cricket was ingrained into the country. Like George Washington, during the Revolutionary War, played a game called wicket, and it was played by a lot of the upper class people in the United States. So fast forward to the end of the 1800s, baseball was introduced, and what happened is slowly teams changed from being a cricket nation into a baseball nation because it was more profitable. And there was always the thing of the United States is a huge, sparsely populated country. So like to find a team to play with is difficult. So when you're seeing all these teams converting to baseball, a lot of cricket teams converted to baseball to kind of cope with that, to have people to play with. And so slowly it turned into by 1920, 1930, pretty much all the cricket clubs have converted to baseball. There are a few clubs that have like continuously been around since the 1800s, which is really cool. And now you're seeing a growth of it. I think it started in the 1970s. We started continuing our series against Canada. So I think we have like an annual match against Canada. And just now with hosting the World Cup, and starting in like 1990s, 2000s, you have like a big immigrant Desi population coming into the United States and reigniting the game. And I always say people are like, cricket in America, it's all Indian people. I say wrong, they're Americans, and we don't care as much. I look at somebody like, that's an American. I don't care what they look like or what religion they are. That's an American to me. I hear the accent, I know it's an American. So we don't really care as much, or not at all. But like I always say, the Desi population is the spark, and then that's going to light a fire. So all Americans will be a part of this game. And on my channel it says America's original pastime, and cricket really is our original pastime. Before baseball, before American football, before many things, it was cricket. So, and now you're seeing that with our hosting of the T20 World Cup in 2024, the Olympics in 2028. Like, it's going to be an explosion. So I'm really excited to be part of that.
Even the Major League Cricket, like MLC, has a lot of
too,
professional cricket, like the players from the big three.
Oh, can you say that again? I kind of got excited when you said Major League Cricket, and I zoned out for a second. Sorry.
Yeah, MLC has a lot of like the top tier cricketers, like the cricketers from Australia, England, and
like the
Jason
big
Roy
three.
is playing. Yeah, the big three. Not the big three. India is not playing MLC because they cannot play any leagues outside India. But yeah, the other two.
I think that's a very smart move by India. Yeah, and I think I would say the thing that is going to be really hard for Americans to understand is that, like, why is Trent Bolt playing in Big Bash League and MLC and South? I don't know what leagues he plays, I forget, but why is he playing in multiple leagues?
Yeah.
The second question is, because that's my player. If he's playing, an American would think if he's playing for Washington Spirit or whatever, like, that's my team. And I don't want him to play for, I'm jealous. And, why is our season like a month long only? If you look at the Major League Baseball season, it's 6 months long. And we don't have test matches in baseball, but what we do have is we play every day. And so you'll go like 14, 15 days without a break, and then you'll have one game off and then keep playing. And so that's kind of like our test match format in a way. But I think that'll be like one of the difficult points, because like my son was born right at the start of the Major League Cricket season, and it was really hard for me to watch it. And by the time it's over, it's like, it's over. Like, do I want to go back and watch these games? And I did, but it's harder for Americans to get into a season because we really like a concrete winner. And I don't think you could get that within like a month, especially when players are playing for multiple teams. So,
Yeah, yeah.
what do you say about that? Like the importance of the domestic competitions over like
Mhm.
international competitions. Like, how do you feel about that?
Well, like if I have to please the audience, I have to say that international cricket is the biggest thing, and nothing like there is nothing on top of that. But like if if you think logically, we have moved, like as a planet, we have moved in the direction of capitalism, and we have to go where money is. And the fact of the matter is that money in international cricket is very less, and people absolutely love watching domestic league tournaments where they can, like, if like from my perspective, I'm an RCB fan, Royal Challengers Bangalore, from the IPL. And if I get to see Virat Kohli playing with AB de Villiers, and later he plays with Glenn Maxwell in the same team,
Yeah,
there is nothing better than this.
that's cool. That's really
and
cool.
and then we, like, India has a debate, like not a debate, it is not a debate that MS Dhoni is obviously a better captain. But then there are matches between Virat Kohli's team and MS Dhoni's team.
Yeah,
Virat Kohli's team gets like bashed every single time. That is all right. Amazon is a great coach, is a great captain, but uh, you know, not only the not only the players, but also the name of the cities have such relevance. Like
yes, yes,
there is so a few dispute between the people of Bangalore and the people of Chennai related to a river. And obviously the cultures are different, even though they are part of south and they're neighboring states, but there are a few differences, and
for
that
sure.
comes out when these two teams play.
Yes, yes. You can't get those regional rivalries only playing
Mm,
international matches. And that's something that the United
right.
States does really well. We don't do
Mm,
international very well, but we do have like good regional rivalries to the point like you're walking
mm.
down the street and you see a guy with a different jersey, you're like, oh, you're a Pittsburgh
Yeah,
Steelers
yeah,
fan,
right.
boo. But it's all in fun. But
Hmm.
you know, just only being able to do that on a national level is not the same. So I think that's really cool. Do you envision the Indian Premier League? Because I know when it started, it was much shorter. Do you envision the Indian Premier League getting bigger and bigger and bigger? Or like, what do you think the future of that is?
I kind of uh, want that the Indian Premier League become like the English Premier League, the football tournament, where there
Yes.
are divisions, and they play a game every weekend.
Oh,
And
yeah,
international cricket is somehow just restricted to the World Cups, and these bilaterals and and Test cricket. Obviously, like Test cricket should not die. Uh,
yes.
I kind of feel that bilateral ODI tournaments, like series, and bilateral T20 series, where just two teams are playing, it makes absolutely no sense. Like if India is playing Sri Lanka in a three-match T20 series, like I will watch the match because I'm a cricket addict. Like it is a drug for me. But people in the long run will not watch it, and they will
Yeah.
not be interested. You will not be able to make a hype for matches like these. But if, say, KKR, Kolkata Knight Riders, is playing against some, you know, if KKR, oh, there was a concept of Champions League back in the day. If you're not aware of it, uh,
Researching that right now. Yeah, because I want to do a video on it. That's fascinating.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like if, like, Kolkata Knight Riders is playing, and there is, say, Seattle Orcas from the Major League Cricket. If these
Yeah.
two teams are playing, the entire country will support Kolkata Knight Riders. Like this has
Right.
happened in the past where KKR plays New South Wales or
Yes.
Queensland or, say, Cape Cobras. The patriotism reaches a different height. And when it comes to international cricket, if India is playing Australia, England, or Pakistan, it is like you know uh, the hype is immense whenever India plays Pakistan or Australia or England. But
Yeah.
apart from that, it is very difficult to get people to watch. In fact, India is playing England right now in a test series, and I'm just following the scores. I've hardly watched the match.
It's still cool that you're following the scores though. But yeah,
Mm.
um, that's a thing I think that developed because cricket wasn't as capitalized, or they
Mm.
didn't care as much about money as like a sport like baseball, because baseball, it was like instantly professional and you're making money
Mm.
off of it. So they had to come together with the rules like, okay, this is the sport we're going to play. We're going to make the games shorter. You have gloves, you have all this, but they had to agree on it because they're going to make money off of it. And cricket kind of wasn't like that. You had like test cricket, which it was professional. It wasn't like rugby where it was completely amateur. And then like you're running,
Mm.
you can develop different formats out of it because, it's not so capitalized. You're not trying to make only money off of it. And that's kind of what I like about the sport too, because I think you have certain values that are ingrained into the sport that you don't see in American sports, like respect. We really need to learn how to
Mm.
respect older people in the United States. And I work with students. I work in a school, so I really like the idea of implementing this game, as well as rugby, to kind of naturally teach respect to younger people. And so that's why I really like the game. One of the reasons why I like the game. But
Mm.
so learning about it, I remember one of the first contacts I had with cricket was my African friend from Togo. He was a physical
Mm.
education teacher at the school I worked at. And he said, I was like, oh, the longest game, baseball plays every day, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, that's nothing because cricket, it takes 5 days to play a game. And I was
Yeah.
like, that's not true. Like, that can't be true. Is that true? I was like, that
Mm.
can't be true. And so I looked it up, and then I found like there's 3 different formats of this game. And
Mm.
so there's ODI, there's a type that takes all day. I mean, that's really cool. The closest thing we have is like a double header where we'll play 2 games
Mm.
in a
2
day.
matches, yeah.
That's like our ODI.
Mm.
But the difference is you get like 2 results. But like
Mm.
now that we have T20, I think T20 is so cool. What do you see like the priority being with T20, ODI, and Test cricket? Because personally, I love them all. And like watching
Mm.
the U19 World Cup, it's like, oh, I love this so much. But then it's like T20 is way more practical. Test cricket, I'm
Mm.
watching India versus England a little bit. That's really cool. If you go back in time, that's the only type of cricket that existed. How do you think cricket reckons this in a time where they really need to make money?
Like my opinion is very straightforward in this. I don't consider T20 as a very serious format. Like I love watching T20. It is the most fun to watch, but it is not the most serious format. You can have a T20 World Cup every other year, but you know what? We hardly remember who won which T20 World Cup, and there are so many T20 World Cups happening. It has lost its value. But ODI World Cup is the real tournament. It is the biggest tournament.
I
We just
agree.
bottled the final, so I don't want to talk about it much. But uh, the ODI World Cup, the ODI format, I think will die off just from the bilateral perspective. Just bilateral ODI matches will cease to happen. It has already kind of ceased to happen. We hardly see ODI matches being played at this point of time. But the ODI World Cup will stay. It should stay because it is the most prized tournament, uh, like in the sport. I can tell you from 1975 World Cup to 2023 World Cup who has won which tournament, and a major incident that happened in each of those tournaments. Uh, and Test cricket is obviously the pinnacle, and nobody can touch Test cricket. There was a certain point of time when Test cricket was called, like it was on ventilators, and we
Yeah.
might just see the end of the Test cricket very very soon. But then again, the way the players responded, and I would give full credit to Basball, and before that, Virat Kohli, the captain, who just made made Test cricket the most fun to watch format. And there was a certain point in every Indian cricket fan who said that T20 cricket is just a joke, Test cricket is the real format. And then the 2021 India tour of Australia happened, and India were the firm favorites to win this time because they won the last time also. But this time the Australian team was strong, and India was strong as well. And in the first match, India recorded the lowest test score in their history. India got all out for 36. And the next game, Virat was supposed to leave. Like Virat, went back home because like his daughter was born. So he left the team, and Ajinkya Rahane became the captain of the team. And a down and out team India, like facing the most amount of humiliation they have ever felt, ended up beating Australia in Australia. And every Indian cricket fan remembers every single session, whatever happened, like to the T. We can say what happened in the second test, day two, third session, where Ajinkya Rahane scored a century. Like we have like memorized what had happened. We remember what the commentator said when India breached Gaba. So Test cricket was about to collapse, was near its end, and then Virat Kohli happened to Test cricket, followed by Ben Stokes or Brendan McCullum. So yeah, it is kind of on the side. WTC has its own advantages and disadvantages, because if so much things are at stake, then the home country tries to make a pitch which is extremely weird. Like the two test matches that we played in South Africa, both the pitches were not suitable for cricket. The
Mm.
second one became the fastest test match to ever end. So if things like that keep on happening on a regular basis, then I think that the end of test cricket would be near. But if the pitches are a little biased towards the home side, then it is okay. But if it is completely unplayable, where even you are not able to play, then that is should be taken strict actions against. Yeah, and T20 cricket is obviously the future. T10 cricket is, I just hope somehow this thing ends.
Yeah.
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 T20 cricket is the future. Yeah.
Ugh. P10, I think it's like it's only acceptable with like youth cricket or like not like professional, you know.
Yeah, right, the charity
Sort of like,
matches.
yeah, like European cricket league. I think it's acceptable just because like you're trying to get these new countries into cricket, like whatever.
Yeah.
T10, and they televise that. They happen to televise that, but nobody's taking
Hmm.
that like super serious, like Spain versus Andorra or whatever the matches are.
Right.
But I don't like that, you know, especially a lot of West Indies players are prioritizing T10
Hmm.
leagues. Um, it's just way too short. And yeah, I don't like it either. Um, but you know, on a side note, just before I forget, because I'm really interested in this, I have a background in languages, and India, you
Hmm.
know, is a country like full of like 5 million languages that you guys speak there. It's really interesting because the United States, we just have like English and Spanish. But when you listen to
Hmm.
commentary with your family, when you listen to commentary, you know, with your friends, is it in English or like what language? And that's my first question.
Yeah.
And then the second question is the Indian team, like how do they communicate with like a billion languages in their country? Like, do they use English, Hindi, or how does that work? How do you think?
Okay, the first is, what language do I prefer in commentary? Well, when I am tired and just trying to sleep and there's an important match going on, that is the only time when I will put Hindi commentary on, because I don't think that Hindi commentary is this is Hindi commentary has great potential, but I'm not very happy with the standard of the commentators. Like the words that they use obviously can be much better. Like I was recently talking to one of my friends, and I was watching the test match in Hindi commentary, and Anil Kumble was in Hindi commentary, and Anil Kumble can speak broken Hindi, but his Hindi is not that fluent. The place from where he comes from, the language is Kannada. The language is called Kannada, and he's extremely fluent, very well educated person. He is very fluent in English. He is, if he goes and sits in the English commentary panel, he'll make for a great commentator. But if your Hindi is not that good, just because you are the friends with other,
Right.
the people who stay in the Hindi commentary box, you just went and sat there, and it was a horrible experience. I just had to turn the commentary off. I watched a certain point of the match without commentary because it was so garbage. Yeah, so this was the first answer. I kind of understand a fair bit of languages, like from North India, because the script is, it comes from Devanagari script that we spoke of earlier. Uh, like Bengali, Gujarati, Marwadi, or Punjabi, all these languages are kind of have the same roots. But when you go
Yeah.
down south, the scripts are completely different.
Or different.
There are
Yeah.
5 major languages: Kannada, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Odia. These are the languages, and uh, players have problem communicating amongst neighboring states as well. When a new Indian team forms, then the North Indians find it very easy to communicate if they are not if they don't have a educated background, which they usually don't have, because obviously you are sports
Really.
people. uh,
Yeah.
yeah, the current lot of cricketers are fluent in English, apart from a few. Like Mohammad Shami cannot speak in English. Mohammad Siraj is not very fluent with English. But
Really.
apart from them, others can speak English. So for someone like Ravichandran Ashwin, who comes from Tamil Nadu, southern
Right.
state, Tamil speaking state, he doesn't quite have a problem speaking to uh, any other player, but he might have problems speaking to Mohammad Shami. That might be a thing, but usually we can communicate with each other in Hindi, which is the which is usually the most adopted language in North India. Like no Indian state has Hindi as their mother tongue, like their main language. But just in
Right.
order to communicate with each other, Hindi is the language.
Second
But
language.
South,
Yeah. Or
the
lingua franca. Yeah. Sorry to cut
yeah
you off.
yeah
Wow.
South doesn't accept Hindi, and they are very particular about their language, and that is the reason they are more like English speaking states.
Right.
Yeah.
I learned about that the other day. I was like, that is so fascinating, but I can't handle it right now because every time like you look up a city or a state, like now when I'm looking up the IPL, like what language do they speak? It's like it is so complex and I love
I
it.
wanted to
And
ask you something like
oh yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
yeah, I wanted to know your experience. Like, I know that you know of IPL. Have you watched an IPL match? Like, how it is supposed to be watched? Like, from the point when the players are discussing, and then the toss happens, the pitch report happens, the match starts.
That's a good question.
Broadcast.
And I'll say like when I first learned about IPL, I learned about it like studying like Wikipedia. This was like during the pandemic. So I was stuck at
Hmm.
home. I was kind of depressed, like working from home. And I got into like all these different sports. I was watching like Australian rules football, rugby league, rugby
Hmm.
union, all these sports that we don't have in the United States on a big scale. And then I got into
Hmm.
cricket because like when you watch rugby, they'll talk about cricket. It's just in the circles, they'll mention the games. And so
Hmm.
I watched an IPL game and I was like, whoa, this is not what I expected. This is awesome. And I think I remember there being
Hmm.
cheerleaders and like
Yeah, yeah,
fireworks.
yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, this is freaking awesome. Like, I just need to watch this like for like days. And like I didn't even leave my room for like a couple days. I was just watching it. But on a serious note, like when I was watching it, it seemed a little slow to me. I definitely skipped through all the commentary. Like, I don't need to listen to that because I don't understand what they're talking about.
Hmm.
Excuse me. And so I skipped all that. I didn't understand it. Right when they started the game is when I watched it and actually downloaded it from like a torrent, because I didn't know where else to find it. But they
Yeah.
would they would have a delivery, hit the ball, and then I would skip, 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 skip to the next
Oh my
delivery. Throw it, skip,
God.
skip, skip, skip. Because to me, I didn't understand like the complexities of it. Now I would never do that now. Like I love it
Hmm.
and I fully like appreciate. Okay, they're fielding here, like this is the strategy, you know, it's like a chess game. You know, it's like it's complex. There's things happening in between deliveries, but at the time I was like, I can't do this. Boom, 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 boom. Just like someone who was watching baseball would do, or like American football. Like, what are they doing? Like, it's play, stop, when you don't understand it.
Yeah.
And during the halftime, I noticed they were interviewing. I'm like, that's weird. Like, why are they like having like a sit down press conference in the middle of the game? It's like, that's like, okay, skip. I'm not watching that. And I remember the first game or one of the first games I saw, it was like Mumbai Indians. That was the team I supported because I saw Jasprit Bumrah, and like he had this delivery I thought was like so like silly. Like he was like holding it, and then he would like go back and like boom. And I was like, oh my god, I love this guy. I freaking love this guy. And then you also had Kyron Pollard. And there was one game where they were really behind, and Kyron Pollard just like batted all these like sixes to win the game. And I was like, that's the funnest I've had watching sports. And you know, just during COVID pandemic, I was kind of like sad, a little depressed, you know, just staying home all day. And that just lifted my spirits up. And I was like, that's the happiest I felt in a while. So that's like a big memory to me. But I think that will take some explaining to do to Americans, you know, like they would swing and miss. And I'd be like, what happens? Like, because again, I'm thinking baseball, you get 3 strikes and you're out. But it doesn't count in cricket.
Yeah.
So I didn't know like any ball that's like within this area is fair. You could swing at it and miss, it doesn't matter. So understanding that and like what a wide is, what a no ball is, things like that are very different from baseball. Although the similarity really helped. Yeah.
Like, I mean, an American would assume that for people in India, like we watch the sport for the first couple of times and we'll get the hang of the sports, but it is completely not true. Like I took a lot of time to understand the dynamics of the sport. The first match I ever watched was 2011, the first ever match of the World Cup. I remember the date and everything. 19th February 2011, India versus Bangladesh. In that match, Virender Sehwag scored some 175 runs. Virat scored 100 runs. India won the match comfortably and eventually won the World Cup as well. But it took me from like literally the first match of the World Cup to the one of the quarterfinals where Pakistan was playing West Indies or something like that. Yeah, Pakistan was playing West Indies. When I realized that there's just one pitch where the game happens.
Right.
Like the pitch is just one. And I would assume that every time, the strike changes, the other batter bats on a different pitch. It took me so long to even register this bit.
Yeah.
And later on, I like now after what 14, 13 years of experience, now I try to, think like the fielding captain would think. Like, how many overs are left? Who should be bowling the next over? I kind of see what the field is, where the batsman can hit the ball, and where I would have kept the fielder, where I'm just trying to predict where the next ball is going to be bowled. So once you go in the direction of trying to learn the sport, trying to learn as much as possible in the sport. Like, you cannot learn the sport completely ever. Like, every ball, something can happen. Like 50 different outcomes can happen on in every delivery. And yeah, so there is no end to learning about cricket. Even though if you think that very little about the sport, and I know, like I have a huge experience of watching the sport. You will never ever understand the game completely, and you'll always have something to learn about the sport. Even if I turn on the game right now, if I watch the match closely, I'll get to learn something which I've never even thought of.
Right. Yeah. There's like something new can happen every game, or
Mhm.
a statistic could happen, you know, or a player could do something that's never happened before.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And I love the numbers. And that's something that carries over from baseball is the
Mm.
statistics. And that was something
Yeah,
I
right.
mentioned about soccer, you know, and I like soccer. I bash on it on my channel just to be funny, but you know, it's like soccer's like so tense and you're just like, you know, like what's happening at 0-0. My wife is from Colombia, so it's like we have to watch soccer like whenever they play, which is cool. But that's one thing I love about cricket. It's just it's full of statistics and numbers, and you can analyze it. Oh, it's so cool. Another thing I like about cricket is the community, the people who watch cricket. I just think are really well thought out, intelligent people. And I had a rugby channel before, and I didn't get much. I'm not blaming. I love rugby, but I didn't get as many like good comments. And when I did cricket on a whim, I would get all these like amazing comments of just like lines of text, and I personally love that. But I just feel like cricket is just like the community, the fans are just like thinking like the whole time, like this, that. And I just love that. I just love over analyzing things. I guess my question to you is, what was your experience like becoming a YouTuber? Because I saw your channel. I was like, whoa, this is really cool. Like, how did you get into making a YouTube channel, and like, what are your hopes for the channel like going forward?
Oh, I have really big hopes with this YouTube channel. I started off this channel like out of nowhere. It was nowhere in my plans. My college just ended. I like opted out of placements, and I thought, let's start a YouTube channel. Let's see what happens. And the first few months were not very good. I was just figuring out how to, the craft of making videos, and I still am not so good at it. I have improved a lot. That I would give myself the credit for. Learn editing and a lot of stuff, and obviously I had that the knack of checking the stats, just trying to know of something that trying to know of a trivia that no one knows. Like I'll tell you a trivia. I don't know how much of like material it would be for you, but RCB has beaten CSK at CSK's home just once ever, and that happened in the inaugural season of the IPL.
Oh man.
Like the first time RCB played CSK at Chennai, they defeated them, and ever since they have failed every single time. Like this is so weird, and people don't talk about it. And I like to you know find such things out and try to tell people. And before I was a YouTuber, I used to be very much opinionated. Even I am right now, but I've lowered it a lot, because obviously if you say something wrong, just because if you say something uh, you know extreme, just because you think it is right, there are a million people who think that it's not right, and they will take it, like they will let you know in every possible way that what you said is wrong and you should apologize. So one of my videos has gotten a lot of hate because I said something about the Pakistan cricket team, because obviously I'm an Indian, and obviously you would say something absurd. And it was the Asia Cup, India versus Pakistan match, and the Pakistani team is always full of self confidence that we are going to come at you, and even the Indians are self confident that we are going to come at you. And I made a video completely centered towards the Indian fans, and I had no idea that people from Pakistan can watch my videos too. And overnight, I got some 150 comments full of abuses, and nothing about the sport, and everything. Like I had fun with that, with the comment section, but I kind of got to know that I should not be this highly opinionated.
Right, maybe be a little bit more politically correct, or
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's like in my country,
I want your experience too. Like
yeah.
starting a YouTube channel, and you have taken a dig against the Australian cricket team,
Yes,
that you
I
don't
do.
like
Yeah.
them. So how, like, did you ever face any criticism, trolling, or a video just blew out of proportion and it was all hate?
Yeah. So I'm trying to like my strengths are not in my knowledge. I don't have those amazing stories like you do from like 2003. So I have to rely on other things. So one of them is like my personality, and it's a YouTube channel. It's not exactly 100% real life. So I try to
Yeah.
exaggerate things. Growing up, there was this really cool sketch comedy series called Bill Schwartzky's Sports Fans, and they talk about Chicago sports, but they're overly exaggerating things. So they say, how is the game going to end? They're like, Chicago's going to win like 500-12, and just never, ever giving the other team any credit, just always being extremely biased towards their team. So I was like, I really like that. And so another thing is in American culture, like if a team wins all the time, you tend to hate them in a good way. Like I don't hate Australia. I love Australia. They have my heart. But just like the New York Yankees, they win all the time. I hate the New York Yankees. I don't literally hate them, but I love to hate them. Or just any team like Brazil soccer. I would never, ever, ever root for Brazil or Argentina. I don't care. There's no way. And I kind of like, why would you root for that team? Like, I just like rooting for an underdog. So seeing Australia
Exactly
winning,
the reason why I am an RCB fan till date. Like
yeah,
they never win, but just supporting CSK would feel like glory hunting or something like that. Yeah, continue.
yeah, right. So like when that team does win, you're like, yeah, I was there since the beginning. Like I deserve this. There's just something about a team winning, and Australia deserve it. I don't think they cheated. I don't think they they deserve to win, and they're fascinating. But there's like all these YouTube channels that say like Australia's great, Glenn Maxwell's awesome. Where for me, I was like watching that game where he got the 201 score. I was like seeing Afghanistan like 99% victory, and then it's slowly going down, and I'm like, no. So my take on it was like, you know what? I'm just gonna like fake, hate this team and just see where it goes. And I don't know if I did such a good job of it, but some people like took offense to it. There was this one commenter, umpire strikes back. He's like, like text me, and I like the guy too. But so I'm trying to find a happy medium, so where people kind of know I'm not serious, but I could also do this too, because that's a big part of American culture, is like trash talking, a friendly trash talking. And I don't know if you have that in other countries, but growing up, like if you support a college football team and your friend is from another college, you'll do things constantly to like taunt them or trash talk them. I remember my one friend, like he was from a different college, so he printed out all these little like glitter things with the sport, and he like hid them in my desk. So when I opened up like the cupboard, they like all fell out, and like, oh man. And just certain things like that where you're, pranking or having fun with the other side. So I'm trying to bring some of that love of sport into cricket. Just give it a more American flavor, and just do things that I know that I'm good at, that I had growing up, and just putting it into cricket. So it takes a while, and my cricket channel is new. It's only 6 months old, and when I was doing rugby, like I said before, I just never had success in it like I wanted. And then the Major League Cricket started. I did a video on a whim, and like, boom, and I was like, wow, I just love this community. So I stuck with it, and I'm really glad I did. And yeah, so now we're here now, and that's awesome. So yeah.
I absolutely love your channel. I'll be honest. A few days back, I went on a a 3 hours roll of watching your videos, like one after the another on autoplay, and they're so much fun. Trying to learn about the American perspective about the sport, just fascinating.
Yeah. I think we need to get like our own culture, like you said with India, how they got their own culture. I think America is big enough, and people always ask me, is America gonna adopt cricket as their main sport? And I'm like, no, that's never going to happen. Like, but we're a country where people have individual preferences, and so you're seeing soccer blow up, especially with the Hispanic community here.
Yeah.
So soccer is like a huge sport now. Where I grew up, the World Cup happened like 20 minutes where I lived, and I had no idea that it was there. So that's kind of how important soccer was. I think it was 1994 World Cup. I'm really old, but it happened, and I didn't even know about it. Nowadays, it would be like a huge thing. So certain sports can get like a niche and like a really strong community, and that's what we're hoping for cricket. But I guess it just takes time, you know. You have to slowly build it up, but that's what I'm hoping to do with the channel and things like that.
Yeah, like I feel that cricket really needs a country like US to step in, because we are heading towards like it's kind of getting monotonous. Uh, the same teams, the same 6, 7 teams participating. Bangladesh being the underdog, Pakistan being the corner tigers. Whenever you corner them, they'll come back stronger. England and
Right.
Australia obviously being at the top, and India just getting to the semifinals and choking and somehow getting out of the tournament without winning it. It's kind of getting monotonous. Like the same thing is happening again and again and again. So I think cricket needs a new flavor. And also, despite being from India, I'm very uh, against the BCCI influence over ICC. I know, like, people might just say that it is okay, but it's just not fair. uh, what is happening. I know the entire business of ICC comes from BCCI, but still ICC is the governing body and they should have more authority. So I think once US steps in and US brings in more money into the sport, just like MLB or NFL, NBA, all these great, the leagues that US has established. I want MLC to reach that level, if not
Oh man,
that level, somewhere around there, in the next decade, I would say, so that cricket
I,
gets a
I
new
think it
flavor
could happen.
with the likes of the Olympics coming in, and then China might also just step in, and all
Yeah,
the countries that are the leaders in the Olympic medals tally. They might just show some interest in this sport, and things might just revolutionize.
yeah, and like yeah, I hope so too. And I think we could do it first with domestic cricket, with the Major League Cricket, and then with our
Mm.
national team. That's why I like domestic cricket more, because we could immediately put that money and kind of get players that are a higher caliber, and then work from there and develop more domestic cricketers.
Right.
And there's the United States. I think it's going to take a little bit of time, but we could be good. Canada, and then like, what do you think are the next countries to get full member status? And is that like important now to do? And do you need to play Test cricket in order to get full status? Like, what do you think about that?
Well, I think this full member nation, this thing is just for the namesake, because recently Ireland and Afghanistan got their full status, like full team status, but they hardly play any test matches. Like Ireland still plays test matches, but Afghanistan doesn't play any. Even though they have a big rivalry against Pakistan. Afghanistan versus Pakistan test series would break all test cricket charts. Like Afghanistan is a very spirited team, but they just don't play Afghanistan test cricket anymore. So I think even if a team gets test status, they would not be playing as much. But if test cricket survives, then only a few test series would last, like India versus Australia, Ashes, uh, probably India versus England, or India versus South Africa. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Maybe South Africa versus Australia. Maybe, I'm not sure
Yeah.
about that as well. Yeah, so I think only a selected few teams would be playing Test cricket in the future. But if I think like the next countries to get the full status would be obviously Netherlands. They have been great.
Mhm.
Apart from them, probably Oman, Scotland, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I think
Nepal.
Nepal has a long way to
Yeah.
go.
Oh, really?
Uh, yeah, Nepal seriously has a long way to go. Same goes for USA. Same goes for Canada. Same goes for Kenya. I'm extremely disappointed with the way Kenya cricket has just
Oh, yeah.
gone down. They played semi-finals in the 2003 World Cup. Can you
Hmm.
believe this? And then
Yeah.
ever since, it has been a downhill uh, journey for them. And even for Zimbabwe, they were a legendary side with Andy Flower, Heath Streak, Grant Flower. Uh, you know but things did not turn out well with their economy and their cricket as well. So I think the number of countries playing cricket has gone down over the years. Serious cricket has gone down over the years, and cricket seriously needs uh, countries like US to step up.
Yeah, I agree. And I think most Indian fans agree with like they don't like the BCCI influence. And I
Mm.
love the community because like even though they love India, they're patriotic, they don't blindly support India. Like they want other teams. They follow other leagues,
Right.
That was the problem I had in rugby because I would talk about different leagues. And they're like, I don't care. I only watch this league. Like I don't give a crap about
Yeah.
any other league. And that's one thing I love about cricket community is like they want to know about even like the teeny tiny leagues like American Premier
Mm.
League cricket or United States Premiership cricket. I'm like, why? But they just want the game to grow, and I love that, and I
Mm.
want to be part of that. So I think that's really cool. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of possibilities, and I think there's a couple issues with Americans adopting cricket, just the Britishness of it. You know, if you watched movies in the 90s growing up and you saw cricket, it was like sweater vests, like almost like they're playing golf,
Right.
and they're very like, they have tea breaks and they're drinking tea
Yeah.
and, jolly-o. And um, it's just a misconception. And I think there's
Mm.
a couple other misconceptions. And I think there's just a couple things that would be hard for us to adopt. But once we get it and we see IPL, we see the 100 or any of these other competitions, it's going to be like, whoa, that's totally different than what I thought. This is awesome. But I think it's just going to take some time to reestablish some of their misconceptions.
You know what? I
Or
think that it will not take a lot of time. Like I kind of have this gut feeling because of the immigrant population in United States that you were earlier
yeah,
talking about. UAE, United Arab Emirates, they have a huge subcontinent population out there, and the
mhm,
team is doing really well. Like they recently defeated New Zealand at home in a T20 match, and they won the Under 19 Asia Cup. The
yeah,
current lot, the recently concluded Under 19 Asia Cup was won by UAE, and the finals was played between UAE and Bangladesh. India
wow,
and
yeah,
Pakistan did not even make it to the finals. So I
yeah,
think the direction of flow of the wind has changed, and we might see UAE step up really soon. And same goes for USA. Like the Indian population, the Pakistani population out there is immense, and I think they
yeah,
should just market the sport through word of mouth.
yeah. And one thing I noticed, is like when I was playing rugby, you'd have to travel like an hour to play a team, and
Mm.
I'm gonna start playing again this summer. But there's like teams, like there's a lot more teams. There's a lot more areas where you can play it. And
Mm.
usually it is entirely, I think I'm saying that right, Desi or, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, and
The
Sri Lanka,
subcontinent.
subcontinent. Okay, I'll say the subcontinent from now on.
Yeah.
I just need a right word. A lot of people from the subcontinent almost exclusively, play cricket here. But I think,
Mm.
like I said, they could be the spark, and then we can kind of like mix it in,
Yeah.
slowly mix in other people, here and there. And once they see
What is
it,
the update on how is Australia taking up, US taking up the hosting? Like what's the buzz around? Are people talking? What are the stadium conditions?
yeah, it's not like it's not like so like I work in a Hispanic school, so I'm really into the Hispanic population and then some into the Anglo English speaking population, and it's never brought up. Nobody knows what cricket is. I
Okay.
never see it. I want to do interviews. I want to go in the street, and slowly
Hmm.
as I meet people, I'm sure I'll meet people who like cricket here where I live. Where I live, it's near Washington D.C., and almost everyone here is an immigrant. Even if you're not from
Hmm.
Even if you're from United States, you're not from Washington D.C. You're from like a different state.
Right. Right.
It's
Yeah.
very like a transient is the word. It's transient. So
Hmm.
everybody's an immigrant. So I am seeing like big pockets of the Indian community and Spanish speaking community. So I need to do a better job of like connecting with those different communities. But right now I'm not.
Mm.
So nobody I know is talking about the World Cup. Nobody knows, nobody cares, from my experiences. So it's kind of like me growing up in 1994 with the soccer World Cup. I had no idea it existed. But, just from an update, I think they could do a better job of explaining, how to get
Yeah.
tickets and
Mm.
what's happening with stadiums. So I'm not really happy with them choosing New York as a venue because it's not even built yet. If you see, the field still looks like a public park.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is done. And they're not even going to break ground until like halfway through February. And it's going to be finished by like early May to mid May. And that's like,
Mm.
okay, I think we can do it. I think it'll be fine. But like, that's a little too close for comfort and a little too close to be humiliated. And like, we're not used to being humiliated like that.
Yeah.
They're saying like we could host the World Cup tomorrow if it happened, if we needed to. And I think we could. We could host any event like on short notice because we have huge stadiums. We can
Yeah.
convert it. We have the money. But I really wish, like I want to buy tickets. I don't know how much they cost. I don't know, like,
Mhm.
you know, how much the tickets cost or like where to go to find the tickets. I don't know what the stadium is going to be like. They kind of give you some ideas, but I wish they would do a better job of that because like it's like I want to spend money on it. Like let me spend money, and I
Mm.
can't. And like, am I going to get tickets? Because I really need to go to this game. I really need to go
Mm.
to India, Pakistan, or whatever games are in New York. I'm going to be traveling like 5 hours by car, um, but it's like a big thing for me. So like, just let me know so I can prepare. It's like January now, and it's going to happen in June and
Yeah.
you got enough time, like just let me know what's up. And so I just think it's not enough time, and I think they could do a way better job of doing that. So I'm a little disappointed, but it is what it is. It's a start, and so next time it's going to be better. That's all I got to
Mm.
say. Next time it'll be more clear about those things.
Yeah, I think
So
ICC has done a really good job in making the groups. Like our
oh
group
yeah,
is amazing. Like India,
yes,
Pakistan, USA, Canada, all four in the same team, or all four in the
yes,
same group. So yeah, so the if they fail to make a good pitch, or if they fail to
mhm,
make a high capacity stadium, then it is going to be a big blunder from the US government or the cricket association, because India versus Pakistan can just bring in the sport, and it is the only match in the entire World Cup that can like start people talking, and
yeah,
people from India and Pakistan are going to visit USA to watch that match. And you know what, let me tell you honestly, even if you are from US, it is going to be extremely difficult for you to find tickets for that one match. You can watch India versus Ireland, you can watch Ireland Pakistan, US's any match, USA Canada will be a great match again. But India versus Pakistan, it is really going to be difficult to find tickets because the entire subcontinent population is going to be there. Like they will somehow find tickets, they will pay extra amounts to get the tickets, as we see this here all the times. Like BCCI does not care about its fans at all. The ticket culture is absolutely terrible. Even though we are the so-called richest board and the most influential board, you know you just saw that so many seats in the stadiums were empty in
yeah,
this World Cup, just because of the poor management. And we still, like, we can book tickets online, but we still need an offline receipt of whatever that thing is called, gate pass or whatever.
yeah.
So like even if we are watching a charity match, like I went to watch a charity match in Bangalore in the M Chinnaswamy Stadium, and we had to go one day prior to get the slip, and
What?
we would have been denied entry if we did not have the slip, because obviously 50, like not 50,000, a huge chunk of people entered the stadium together, and they do not have a lot of time to just check all the phones and pass the
Right.
people. So they see the slip and they let go of, like. they will
Wow,
open the gate. Yeah.
crazy. Yeah,
So
I
the
remember.
ticket culture is very bad.
Yeah, I agree. And I remember seeing the first game. Like, why did they choose such a huge stadium to host the first game? Like,
Exactly.
make it small and make that the
Mm.
last stadium and make that poppin'. That was like kind of confusing. Like, and there was a lot of people at the game. I forget
Yeah.
like 50,000, which is huge,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
the stadium is
And it still looks empty. Yeah.
yeah. So I think that's another hurdle, and hopefully I'll be part of like more smaller tournaments that I can go watch,
Yeah.
and do that too. It's for me, it's like that's really cool, but I'm also excited about watching cricket. There's actually a field like 5 minutes from my house that I just learned that is developed, and so I'm going to watch those. I'm going to be almost just as excited to watch those matches too, and maybe I could find a tree and binoculars and watch watch the India Pakistan game, like, or maybe I just go there and stay outside the stadium and just be part of that environment. Um,
Environment.
yeah. So just whatever I could do, I just want to be part of it. It's really exciting. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it a lot. But people don't know about cricket here, so I
Mm.
think that's gonna take. I'm just how can we promote it more, especially outside of the subcontinent population
Mm.
here. So that's gonna
Okay.
be a tough one.
So like this is the final segment of the podcast, or the first podcast, and being the senior cricket watcher, being your senior in this field, I would like to give you some homework that you have to
Okay.
uh,
Yeah.
take up. You don't have to do it all together, but slowly and steadily, and this will help your cricket knowledge a lot. You are already very much knowledgeable about the sport. I'm not bossing here, but
No.
yeah, but the if you do these things, you will uh, your cricketing knowledge will grow further, and you would know
Yeah.
how we feel, or something like that.
Yeah.
So I want you to watch a few web series if you haven't already. Have you watched The Test? It is on Amazon Prime.
Third test. What's it called?
The Test.
Oh no, no,
You
no.
have to
I have
watch
not.
it. Like it is a documentary on the Australian Cricket Board, when David Warner and Steve Smith got banned. Uh, the
Oh yeah.
team, the team went through a transition, and they, a gentlemanish Australian side was formed for the time being, and that is one of the best web series made on cricket ever. So the Test is one such series. The other is, I want you to watch 83. It is available on Netflix,
Yeah.
and it is a Hindi movie. You have to get your English subtitles on, or dubbing or whatever.
I'm
Uh,
learning Hindi, by the way, and I have a
it's
class.
a
I'm
great
taking a
movie.
Hindi class later today, so
Oh,
I'm learning
amazing.
Hindi.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Uh, and I want you to watch a biopic of MS Dhoni. Like, it is not the most cricket thing, but yeah, it is the story of a great man who played the sport. Yeah,
Oh
so
yeah.
these three, you don't have to watch it till the next podcast, but slowly and steadily, you should keep an eye on these.
I got homework. Yeah,
Watch
I
these
love it.
series. Yeah.
This is very helpful because sometimes I want to watch stuff or I want cricket, but like I don't know where to go, and there's like
Mm.
a billion options. So very helpful
Right.
because I'm gonna do something like
And you
this
know
anyway.
what? You actually can do reaction videos. uh, I am sure that you know of those. Like, there are so many genres. Like, there's this genre of YouTube videos that is like American reacts to cricket. And
Right. Right.
you can actually watch some legendary clips of cricket, like the one I told you about, Yuvraj Singh
Yeah.
six sixes. That is amazing. Like,
Can you say it again?
you
That was
will just
19.
soak in the atmosphere. Yeah.
What game was that again? Because I could do that one. 19 what?
No, no, no. It is from 1983 World Cup was the movie I was talking about, and
Oh yeah.
the YouTube video was Yuvraj Singh six sixes from the 2007 T20 World Cup.
2000. Okay. 2007 World Cup.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I want to make sure I get it right because then I'm like, I want to do it and like, wait, what did you say? So I'm trying to write it down.
I'll send you the link
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
videos. That's not an issue.
perfect. Yeah, I tried to do one reaction video about Max O'Dowd or the other guy, not Max O'Dowd, but Sean Ed, one guy from Netherlands team where he got the highest score in T10. And I thought it was a T10 clip. They'll let me use it. And then it was said restricted. So I was like, oh man. And I tried to block it. I tried to put it in the corner. I tried to put it in the corner here and put my logo and like block it, like, and it didn't work. So I was like, whatever,
You have to find a way. Like you have to watch the videos of the people who have made it and then just find out that how they do it.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess reaction videos sometimes is like you have ignorant people, not that it's a problem to be ignorant, but ignorant Americans who are like, what's happening here? And it kind of just pisses me off sometimes. Like they don't have the same love or respect for the game. And I'm like, okay, I could be ignorant too, but I have extreme respect for the game. And so I just think sometimes it seems a little disrespectful the way that they treat it. It's like, I don't know, or their channel isn't entirely about cricket. I don't know, but I'll definitely do that. That's awesome. That's so many
Yeah,
ideas.
I just love your community. I love my community as well, but it is majorly Indian and mostly they have the same opinion. But your community, like I've seen like people from Bangladesh, people from South Africa.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a lot. There's a lot of diversity. I think Nishankar TV is from Nepal. I'm not sure about that.
Oh, Nishankar TV. I think he's from India. Is he from India? I don't
Oh,
know.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure.
But the Nish man, for me is he's awesome. And I just, like I said, I have a linguistic background, so I love languages. I study languages. I speak languages. And so when I saw it, I was like, I could put it in English subtitles. That wasn't a problem for me. And it was just like really well done videos. And so the thing is, and I don't know if we have time to get into another thing, but put the video in English, like the written part of it is in English. How
Yeah.
the history of cricket in India or Italy rather. He does all these
Yeah.
like different countries. So I was looking up different countries, and his videos always came up. And I would click on the video, and it'd be in Hindi. And I was like, okay, but he mixed in English. So I was learning about that. As I tried to learn Hindi on Duolingo, but they were trying to teach me the Vangari script. And they're like, I don't need to learn the Vangari script. Not that I'm not being respectful to it. It's very important, and the historical roots are awesome. But for my purposes, I just need to hear it and understand it because everything's written in English.
Right.
I don't know if we have time for that, but like, why? Like, that's so weird because like in my community, in the Spanish speaking community, they don't know any written English at all. It's always Spanish, written Spanish, speaking Spanish. If you write an English word, like they'll even change the spelling of English words to make it more understandable. But like,
Right.
why is there just a preference for English or, and like your English is like perfect too. Like it's just blown away by, the English in the country, it's crazy.
No, I mean actually, I stutter a lot whenever I speak Hindi all day, and then whenever I have to switch the language in order to do a podcast like this, I kind of am just looking for words to fill. Like
Yeah.
I'm not from like English doesn't come naturally to me, but yeah, I can speak.
Yeah, it fooled me. But yeah, I think maybe English is a language that unifies the different communities. And, sometimes I wonder, like, I don't deserve the YouTube family that I have. And I just try to be really personable. But I think Indian people or people from the subcontinent in general are really like interested in like what an American has to think about it, about cricket. And they just, and I try to include my personal life as much as I feel comfortable doing. And so I'm just having fun with it. And sometimes I'll make a really like, maybe I don't know if I should say this, but like sometimes like low effort videos, but people will love it and they just want to hear about it and they just want a place where they can come together and talk, And so that's when I'm learning, and sometimes I'll make a really high effort video. Like I was doing a video on like the ties and the stalemates. I researched that. I like edited it, and everything. And like nobody wanted to watch that one. So I'm just like learning like, okay, what works, what doesn't work. But
Even I had that problem. But fairly recently, I tried to switch everything because I stopped getting views at all. I
oh
made
yeah,
I was talking about the World Cup. I was talking about Babar Azam, and the video got 40 views. I was like, "What? I had 150 subscribers back in the day, and I got
yeah,
40 views." And I was like, and I put in so much hard work in making the thumbnail, and I still did not get any view on that. So I just decided from the next day onward that the audio part is good because I have this mic.
yeah, that's great.
So yeah, so
Yeah,
the audio is good. I don't have a great camera, so let me just remove the camera part of it for the time being. So I made highly edited videos, and just talking about stats and figures and stuffs, and just talking about the trends. And now I'm heading outwards as well. I was talking about Rahul Dravid's coaching career recently. Yeah, so that is working out. Every video is getting thousands of views now. So yeah, that is working out for me.
yeah, I see it consistently like in the 1K range. And I was like, oh wow. And you had one video like 57,000 views. I was like, ah man, his channel is getting
Yeah.
hot. Um and that's what I run into problems because I was getting like thousands and then I just hit a block and I took a break. It's just hard sometimes to keep making stuff. I just needed a mental break from cricket to like reignite the passion. So yeah, it's a tough game, but I guess just have fun with it. And a good thing about this is like people give you a lot of ideas and hints. Like do a video on the best
Mm,
catches, do a video on cricket from Nepal, do a video on this. So they
right.
kind of make it a lot easier to do that. Um, so much fun. Yeah, but
Yeah, I I
yeah,
think
yeah,
I think you have a genre. You found your niche,
mhm,
which is associate cricket. That is amazing. I would love
yeah,
if you could make videos on Indian cricket as well, but obviously that doesn't suit your niche, I would say.
yeah,
But uh, you know, I just love your community. Like
yeah. Oh, thanks.
I have zero views from South Africa, so or
Really,
countries like those. So yeah, I don't get any views from countries like those because make videos in Hindi. So obviously,
right?
uh,
Yeah,
mm,
yeah. I guess that's a hindrance, but like it's like you could just use the subtitles, and there's such high
yeah,
quality. Like I don't have an issue with it because it's like they're very high quality, and you can't find the information anywhere else. So it's like, of course, I'm gonna watch it.
right.
Um, Same thing with Nishankar TV. It's just like it's so good. I forget that I'm watching it in Hindi sometimes. Like it's not a problem.
Mm,
Yeah, it's really cool. And I do have some people from South Africa, from Australia, and so we're fighting with the Australians, even England. That's something that didn't happen
mm,
in my rugby channel, like, or I would get comments from them like, "Oh, you Yank, you're talking about my sport, you Yank," and um,
mm,
it's like, oh man. Or I would make a video, put all this effort in, and like no comments. And you could check out the channel. It's New World Rugby. I mean, I still love rugby very much, but you just don't have the same like community. And I think that's the one thing I wanted more than anything, more than getting the channel monetized, more than
mm,
it's the community of people just feeling like you're part of something and you're doing something. So I hope my YouTube family like feels like that's a place where they can come and talk with each other. It's
right.
so much. I love it. Yeah. Yeah, so I guess there's a couple other questions.
Yeah.
You know, thinking about like rivalries, one thing I was always curious about is like your rivalry with Pakistan and like why can't Pakistani players play in the IPL? I don't know if that's like off limits. But like, I was watching some Pakistani YouTube channels and they're equally as passionate. They speak Urdu, which is like Hindi, but it's not
Yeah.
so fascinating. But like, can you watch a video in Urdu and it's fine? And then secondly, like what what do you think India and Pakistan can do to like restore like relations and kind of smooth things over? I hope that's an okay question to ask.
That is a totally that's a great question, to be honest. But the ties between India and Pakistan are not so good because of what is happening. One, in the borders, and number two, what is happening between the governments. So the people of India and the people of Pakistan, the civilians, are very very similar. Their thinking pattern,
Mm-hmm.
their interests, you know there's so much commonality, which I find between these two. They are generally, it was one country before. India, Pakistan,
Yeah.
Bangladesh, they were all one. And in fact, even after the partition had happened, there were just two countries, India and Pakistan. Bangladesh was did not exist till
Right.
1974, I guess, or
Mm-hmm.
1976. I'm not sure about that. Yeah, so we are the people who have gone through the same stuff. Just because there is a border in between, and just because we are so similar, and Pakistan just took a different route, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
with religion being the main thing there. And in India it was more secular, like many religions used to stay together. So there was this difference that created all the problems. And yeah, I mean, what was the question again? I've forgotten the question. What was the
How
first part of the question?
yeah, I know. Just like how can you restore like relations? Like how can Pakistani players
Yeah,
play in
okay,
that?
okay. Yeah,
Things like that.
yeah. Pakistani players played the IPL, the initial seasons of the IPL, but later they were told not to because a terrorist attack happened in Mumbai, which is obviously such a huge city. And that was one of the most that it Mumbai's 2611 is United States 911.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It has the same significance, same impact, everything the same. So the government took this decision that we will not allow Pakistani cricketers to play. And uh, uh, and till date there are problems in the borders. But it is mainly the government's problem, I would say, because obviously the army doesn't just go and attack without the government's intervention or something like that. uh, yeah, so that is the problem. I No matter how optimistic I try to be, but I do not see a solution coming in the near future, which is sad. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, and it's just not India, Pakistan. So many places are going through, like so many countries are going through geopolitical problems at this point of time. But India Pakistan is an OG rivalry, and Indians and Pakistanis love India versus Pakistan matches. Let me tell you that the banter is
Yeah.
amazing. Like the sensible Pakistan fans and the sensible Indian fans, they have a great time when India and Pakistan play together.
Yes. I remember watching Pac TV and just like there was this kid crying because I thought it was
Hmm.
sweet. And also their reactions to Pakistan losing, like I thought it was hilarious. Like not because I'm laughing at them because they're so passionate. I
Hmm.
was just thought it was like so, kind of funny, but like awesome, in a way. Like I'm not,
Hmm.
I'm laughing with you. It's just so awesome to see such passionate fans, but they're like so like it's so important to them, and they're like freaking out, like, oh, we're losing, we're not gonna make it to the semifinals. And
Hmm.
just to see the same kind of passion, but in a different way from another country, was like really cool to watch. So I hope you guys, could figure that out because it's another community, and I think this ball is actually from Pakistan I have here. And so yeah, the rivalry, the banter, I think is
Hmm.
awesome. I love that. So it's a great rivalry. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, and,
and
and
and you asked me that if I can watch a video in Urdu. I can
yeah,
completely watch a video in Urdu, but I cannot read Urdu script. Like the
mhm,
script is totally different, but what they are saying, the meaning of the word is exactly the same. Like if I start speaking in Hindi, anyone from Pakistan will be able to understand what I'm trying to say, and the other way around. But the script is totally different.
It's fascinating. Yeah, I'm learning
Yeah,
about
it is.
those things. It's like it's very interesting, just the languages and the culture. Because like again,
Hmm.
United States is just English. It's kind of boring sometimes. Um, yeah, a couple other questions here. Oh yeah, the 2026 Cricket World Cup. Like, what do you think about the different format that they're going to use? They're going to have 14 teams for the 2026 Cricket World Cup. Have you seen that, or have you thought about it? Like, because you're saying Cricket World Cup is like the pinnacle of the sport. This is the most important tournament. This isn't like the T20 World Cup where it's every 2 years and
2027
you have teams
or
like Uganda
2026 will
playing.
be a T20 World Cup.
2027, sorry, 2027.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. But like, what do you think
Um,
that should be like going
yeah, go on.
forward?
Man, I just want more teams to play this sport
Yeah.
because if like I compare IPL to the English Premier League, which I just mentioned of sometimes
Mhm.
before. Uh, the thing with football is that so many countries play the sport that they can have 20 teams in the Premier League and then 20 more in the Championship and then a lot more in the lower divisions. The standard of the sport does not go, you know, it is still, I'm
Right.
not getting the right word for that. I don't want to come out politically incorrect. Uh,
This is still the same standard of
Recently, there
play.
was a match between Argentina. Recently there was a match between Argentina women and Chile women, and that match broke all records because I think 144 runs were given off extras, like some 72 no balls and some absurd amount of wide balls. So that is what I'm talking about. So a lot of countries play this level of cricket, which I do not consider to be like international standard. And like now these women have the record of scoring the most runs, even those 150 runs came off extras. And another match that Nepal is very proud of. I want Nepal cricket to become as big as possible, but this incident doesn't abide by the statement. There was a match between Nepal and Mongolia, and Mongolia was playing their first match ever, and the ground was in China. The ground was like absurdly small, like 40 meters, 50 meters. It was a match from the Asian Games, and a player, Dipendra Singh Airi, scored 50 of 9 balls, like literally smashing every ball outside. And the bowlers are just bowling full tosses, and there are extras, and they have scored the highest runs of the like history of T20 cricket. Like everything, all the records are shattered. So do you consider this as an international level? Because the bowling was poor than what we play every Sunday.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if me and
No.
my friend played in Mongolian team, then we would have played better.
Right.
Like
Right. Like literally better. That's hilarious. Yeah. I mean that's
mm,
true. You just don't have the background in the sport like you do soccer where it's like well ingrained. Like any team, any country could kind of like be somewhat competitive, and it's not so in
yeah.
cricket. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that worries me having Uganda in the T20 World Cup because I
Right.
think they're gonna, it's one thing to get like crushed like United States did in the U19 World Cup. We're getting beaten very handily, but we're we shine in certain moments. We make good catches, we bowl
Mm.
people out, like we get wickets. But my worry
Mm.
is it's gonna be like with like Bermuda in the I think it was 2007 World Cup or where they
Yeah,
like
yeah,
completely get humiliated
yeah.
because I think it makes the game kind of look silly. Like, why is this team in the World Cup when they can't even compete and they're just losing? Like not even scoring like 50 runs a match. So I
Look,
hope you kind of
I am totally against the 10 team World Cup. Like it cannot
yeah
be a World Cup if 10 teams are playing. A country like West Indies, um, Oman, Scotland, Ireland, UAE, and I have missed one country who played really well in this World Cup qualifiers. like these teams deserve to play the World
Yes.
Cup. Zimbabwe is the team.
Zimbabwe,
Zimbabwe.
yep.
Yeah. So
Underwater,
like
yeah.
there are 17 to 18 teams that can play really good cricket.
Yes.
And Nepal is growing, US is growing, Canada is, yeah, even Canada is growing. There is Papua New Guinea, even sorry, even
Yeah,
that is growing.
for sure.
Yeah.
I,
So
I, I had so much fun watching the qualification tournament. I had fun watching the tournament, but the qualification tournament I enjoyed a little bit more because you get to see those like younger teams play. And it seemed like only 10 teams. It just seemed so stacked against teams like Netherlands. Like I wanted
yeah,
Netherlands to qualify for the ICC Champions Trophy, and they
right.
almost had it. And they won 2 games, and it made a big improvement. But it's like so many things are stacked against them that like when are they going to play ODI cricket again outside of tournaments like this? Can they get like bilateral series or like how does that happen? I think there needs to be more tournaments and like I would be, and no one ever agrees with me, but I'm like so much in favor of like a tier 2 World Cup, so you could
Yeah.
have those younger teams play in a World Cup. That way they won't get humiliated. It's like this, like, and you could do promotion and relegation that way. But I ate that up. In the United States lost every game, but I still just thought it was just so much fun to watch those younger teams. But yeah, I think the World Cup 10 teams is like way too few teams. 14 it seems like the right way, and I made a video on how to qualify, but it seems like there are some ways that those lower teams can qualify, but it also still seems like 14 teams might not be enough. I think 16 would be the sweet spot, but yeah, I just want to see new teams playing it, and like they should capitalize on Netherlands and
Yeah.
Afghanistan, the victories that they had. I know Afghanistan's a tier 1 nation, but they had a really good showings. They almost made it to semifinals in a way, and
Do you know the history of Afghanistan cricket? Like,
kind of that,
yeah,
yeah. And
Afghanistan
could you
was
explain it?
not at all a tier one cricket team
Right.
fairly recently. And it is I think as of now it is the only non British colony to reach where they have.
Yep.
Afghanistan
Yep.
was never a British colony, and fairly recently they were all people who used to stay in refugee camps in Pakistan.
Right.
And from there, Mohammad Nabi and Shapur Zadran and then Rashid Khan, they just took this team to a direction, and so quickly from being, for the first, they played the first World Cup. The first World Cup they played was in 2015, where they defeated Scotland. Yeah, and then in 2016 they defeated West Indies in the T20 World Cup, and then they had ups and downs. They were making their team. New boys were coming in. Mujib came in.
Yeah.
Noor Ahmed is the new guy who came in. He's the next future superstar, replica of Rashid Khan. Uh, and then the 2023 World Cup happened. The 2019 World Cup, they did not win a single game. They came really close to beating India and Pakistan, but they could not. And in 2023, they just broke all, like, there was a point when Afghanistan could really qualify to the semifinals. Like they beat Pakistan, the most convincing win ever. They almost had it against Australia. They beat England convincingly, and yeah, the rest is history. What Glenn Maxwell did.
Maxwell ruined it, and that's like awesome story on his part too. But they came so close, and Netherlands also came so close.
Yeah,
Um, and did do it, but I just think they should capitalize on these new teams. And I went to Reddit and looking up Netherlands, and a lot of it is like in the Netherlands subreddit where like Indian fans are questioning, like, what do you guys know about cricket? Like nobody knows. Like, stop asking us about cricket. But just
mm,
seeing the passion, like I know Indian fans really want Netherlands to do well too.
yeah.
So I think everyone's behind it. You just need to like promote it and get it there. So
Mm.
yeah.
Okay,
Uh,
this is a very ignorant question that I wanted to ask.
oh yeah.
Uh, I know that Unmuk Chand is going to captain US, and I'm very happy for Unmuk. If you're not aware, then he is the under 19 World Cup winning captain for India, and
Yeah.
uh, and after he won the under 19 World Cup, it felt like even before Virat Kohli became a thing, it felt like Unmukt Chand is the next big thing coming
Yeah.
out of India, and he was getting brand endorsements and brand endorsements with MS Dhoni with like brands like Pepsi, but then things did not turn out his way, and then he just kind of lost form and all. Uh, and I am aware that Corey Anderson and Liam Plunkett are a part of the US, cricket academy, or that's somewhere around in the team. Are they going to play for US? Is the question.
Yeah, I think Munchand is probably going to be the captain, but they haven't made any like
Mm.
final decision on that. So a lot of people are
Okay.
asking like, can you put the roster here? And I don't know. I've been focusing a lot on the
Mm.
U19 right now because that's something that's happening now. But yeah, I would like to know, and I think a big disadvantage for USA and a lot of tier two teams is like we don't do bilateral series. It's just these tournaments. So we haven't really played an ODI
Right.
since the qualification tournament and the
Mm.
T20. I'm not sure when our last T20 was. So it's kind of up in
Mm.
the air. But hopefully we find out soon because I really want to know and start preparing for that. But yeah,
Mm.
I'm totally in the dark about that too. And
Yeah.
I'm still new, so uh, I guess I'll need some time to research that. So okay, guys, so there you have it. That was our first podcast. We talk about a lot of cool things, and just keep following us because I think this podcast is just going to keep getting better and better every time. So yeah, thank you again. I'm New World Cricket, and you can follow my channel, like and subscribe. Make sure to leave a comment. This is Utsap. Check out his channel; it's blowing up. And make sure to comment on his videos, like and subscribe as always, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Later.